Now, I understand that Alfonso had you each write an essay. What was that all about?
Well, actually, I didn't. I never did the essay.
True to character, you didn't hand in your homework.
No, I didn't do it, but...
Yeah, he basically asked us to write an essay about who we thought our characters were, why they did the things they do, their background, their feelings, their thoughts, how they've changed in the first year of Hogwarts, second year of Hogwarts, and now into the third year, and all that kind of stuff.
And it was... I felt really so pleased with myself because you hadn't handed yours in and I felt so pleased. I've done it. So I had mine. The next day Emma comes in with all 16 pages of hers.
It's frighteningly good casting, really, the way you've all reacted to this.
Well, we just got a chance to explore the characters slightly more because they're growing up, basically.
Yeah,
and so there's more scope to the characters in the book.
We're teenagers.
What is the first thing that typically fans do when they see you in public?
Quite a lot of double takes. First of all.
Yeah.
I think there's almost this theory that we can't actually go out in public, so it must just be somebody who looks like us.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
But, I mean, that's kind of a myth. We do actually go out.
Yeah, I was in Talk Show the other day, and the woman who's working there comes up and goes, it's so funny. You look exactly like the girl who plays Hermione. It's like, yeah, it's because I am. Excuse me? What? Sorry?
I have to travel in a handbag so the girls won't get me. You know what they say? Once you've gone out with a shrunken head, you never go back.
You see when your mouth has come unstitched? That could easily be restitched.
Bah.
Yeah? What is the most ridiculous thing that a fan has ever said to you?
Well, I've had proposals of marriage. I had one, which was bizarre. It was terrifying.
It was Dan, marry me.
Yeah, it was the weirdest one. It was this big sign. And then the other one was the towel girl.
Oh.
The towel girl?
The towel girl. She's a legend.
What did the towel girl do?
We were filming... I was doing MTV in New York, and it was freezing cold out. I mean, it's not like it was a warm summer's day. It was so cold. And I got up, and they took me over to the window, and there was a girl standing down there wearing nothing but a Harry Potter towel with a sign that said... It doesn't get much better than this.
No, that's
with
so flattering, man.
With a sign that says, nothing comes between me and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
I bet it was.
It was. Yeah.
In the movie, you encounter a boggart who transforms itself into your worst fear. If you individually encountered boggarts, what do you think they'd be? Because you look like you love that pressure.
Well, I'm actually really scared of spiders. I hate spiders, just like Ron, really.
You're wimpier than Johnny.
What animal or animagus? Is it animagus?
Animagus.
Animagus. Oh, I've been corrected by Hermione Granger. What do you think the other two would morph into?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Said that
Come on.
frog.
I didn't say you look like a frog.
You did in one of the pictures.
Did I?
Yeah, one of the stills. I was.
God, that was during my horrible face.
Nice.
I don't know. What animal would you like to be? You like camels.
Camels are quite
So
cool,
you can be a camel.
It's a handy thing to be, you know. You can go a long time without water.
Exactly.
I
I have absolutely no idea about... I'm sorry.
Throw one in.
Come on. Yeah, come on, Dan.
Come
No
on.
pressure or anything.
You're meant to be able to, you know, do things like that.
I know, but I can't.
You are the boy Potter.
I'm meant to be able to.
Hey, how about a potato head?
Hey.
A platypus?
Help me.
A lion?
A lion.
I don't know.
Right.
OK. What do you think he'd be and what do you think he'd be?
Well, I know he has a real thing for werewolves.
No, just wolves. Wolves. Not werewolves.
No, wolves. OK.
I convinced you that I was a werewolf.
Oh,
well, no,
you did,
yeah. Yeah, I told him I was a
I
werewolf.
believed you as well.
No, you couldn't have done, really.
Oh, I did, yeah.
OK, fellas, you are, you know, probably the most famous under 16-year-olds on this earth. The girls must be... It must be a glorious time.
Plenty of towel girls.
Yes, many times. Oh, yeah, no, it's great. It's very cool, yeah.
What are the things you'd like to be able to do that you can do in Harry Potter that you can't do in the real world? Would Quidditch be one of them? What are the sort of things you'd... If you could pick one thing...
I think I'd probably have the invisibility cloak. Because then I could just sneak into so many rock concerts, it'd be great.
You don't need a cloak to sneak into concerts. Just rolling under the turnstile like I do.
Yeah.
But I do have a favourite band.
OK, what's your favourite band?
Isn't it obvious? Talking Heads. You walked into that one.
And lastly, guys, when a new Harry Potter book comes out, you must now, you know, having started out just as Harry Potter book fans, it must have really changed the way you read these books now.
you do kind of start to look at it as, oh my God, well, I'll be doing this.
No, for you it's not a book, it's a list of things to do,
Yeah,
you know.
I read the 4th book as we started the first film.
Right.
And the Yule Ball,
yeah.
me and Ron are like, I remember just reading, oh my God, we're wearing dresses?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
What?
I've got to do that, yeah.
Surely.
Did you have a similar moment when you read that, or did you read it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That scared me quite, yeah.
But do you sort of, when you're looking at it, thinking, that's another 2 weeks in blue screen, or, oh, no.
Yeah.
Does it sort of ruin your enjoyment or heighten your enjoyment of the book?
I think for me it heightens it because it's like, oh my God, I'm actually going to get to do this because, you know, there are kids all over the world dreaming of this stuff.
Yeah. You live in
and
the
you're
dream.
actually going to be able to do it. It's fantastic.
What about you?
Johnny!
What?
Don't you think I'd be a great Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Especially when it comes to waving a wand.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Emma?
Now that I've done the film, when I'm reading the book, I can see Dan, Rupert and I actually doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I have this little picture in my head.
OK, that's me done. So now it's time to turn to the head and ask him to ask you his one question.
Daniel, isn't our scene together the highlight of the film? Don't you think it's head and shoulders above the rest?
It's the night bus scene, isn't it? Yeah. And I just remember, I remember when you got on set, you were making a lot of demands, actually. But, you know,
Wouldn't
yeah,
come
no,
out
it was
straight
a good...
after
I don't remember that.
You asked the question, don't interrupt. Sorry.
Thank you.
I don't remember that.
It's unbelievable. Go on.
No, it's a great scene. Very good scene.
Come on, Daniel. I'm the most talented shrunken head in the Screen Actors Guild. In fact, I'm the only talking shrunken head in the guild.
Honestly. Were you big fans of Harry Potter before you got involved in this?
Well, we've read the books, haven't we?
Yeah,
So,
well, I was like so I just finished the first one when we had their auditions for the film, so I thought,
and like, obviously, I didn't realise how much of a big scale it was on, but I knew that there was definitely something about them.
You thought it was going to be a low-budget number.
Well,
So what about you?
Well, I just read the first one, and then, as James and Oliver said, auditions came up, and then had to keep on reading more and more and more, finding out more about the film.
Is it true for your part in Harry Potter you were cast by headhunters?
No, that was only you, wasn't it?
Well, how did you get your star parts?
well, we heard that there was an open audition up in Leeds, and we thought, well, why not go for it, yeah?
What about you?
Mine was pretty much the same because I'm from Leeds, so mine was at the open audition as well. But I remember other people queuing up the stairs, and everyone was there with the Harry Potter books, and they'd put glasses on without lenses in, and I was just there with, I had a little small CV, and I was like, OK, I've got no chance of this at all.
What about you?
Well, my manager was onto the casting.
Oh, my manager.
Well, he was onto the casting directors and all that about it. So I went for an audition over in Ireland, and then I was asked to come over here to do a screen test for either Seamus or Neville Longbottom. So I was there, oh, nice, and I might get a part now.
Ah, great. And how did they actually break this wonderful news to you?
I didn't know I had the part until the actual read-through. I had to read for... I was told then I was going to read for Seamus, and then they said, well, you've read it all really well, so we'll like to take you on and all that. So went on and on from there again.
OK, when did you hear?
Mine was about 2 or 3 days after the screen test, and suddenly my mum got a phone call, and I was just carried on playing, and I opened the door, I says, who is it? She says, it's Lynn from your agency, and I said, oh, OK. Well, and she gave me the thumbs up, and I just ran in the room, started jumping up and down on the sofa with my friend. It was really cool.
What about you, fellas?
Well, we were just in the front room, and like the phone rang, so my mum answered it, and apparently this lady at the other end said, hi, is the mum of the Weasley twins there?
I think she said, no, I think you got the wrong number or something.
Oh, God, your mum blew it for you. That was it.
Hey, Johnny, do you want to know how I got the part?
No.
Oh, hang on. Hey, guys, you want to know how I got the part?
No, not really.
Ooh.
Sorry about that, fellas. Now, if you could play any other characters in the Harry Potter films, who do you think you'd like to play?
I guess a bad guy would be pretty cool, like Draco Malfoy. But I remember the first time I read The Philosopher's Stone, I put my dressing gown on and started pretending to be Harry running around the house. And I can't believe I just told you that. But,
I'm good, aren't I?
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing fans have ever asked you?
Well, they all ask, can we get them a part in the film? But
yeah.
What else would
Do they? In Ireland,
Yeah.
they're asking you for employment.
Yeah. Would you be able to get me a job in Harry Potter?
If it's a lady, I bet you say, well, you know.
Yeah. Give me your number there and I'll get
I'll
back
have a
to you.
word, yeah. No, but what, have you ever had any really bizarre things happen to you?
Somebody gave me a pepper at the Collectomania that we did.
The what? Kleptomania?
Collectomania, it was a sign-in event, convention, thank you. And yeah, somebody gave me a pepper, and you got something even stranger.
Yeah, we've got a bra with potatoes in it. So I don't
And we're
quite...
still to this day trying to figure out what
What kind of tribute is that?
Yeah.
What must go through someone's head when they think, I know what's going to really impress the twins?
I know what's going through my head.
How do we tell you apart? What would you say are the key? I mean, how does your mum do it?
That on there. I've got a mole on my neck there. And James doesn't.
I haven't.
So.
That's it, we have to look for the mole. Because you're not actually ginger, are you? At all?
No, it's dyed hair.
That's a bottle with dark brown.
And what do you think? How do you feel being ginger?
I've got used to it now.
Yeah,
It's like almost 3 years. When we told people, like we told our close friends that we were in Harry Potter, and yeah, sure, yeah. Then when we walk into school with ginger hair, everyone's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no one would do that.
No, exactly.
Who would dye their hair ginger?
Johnny, I could play a Weasley in the next film.
No, you couldn't.
What's the problem?
OK, do you have a twin?
No.
Do you have ginger hair?
No, but I have a bra full of potatoes.
Matt, your character, Neville, they've sort of clowned you up a bit for this third one. What have they done to you? Because you looked a bit different when I was looking at some of the rushes there.
Yeah, there's the false teeth, which are all yellow and crooked, and we've got the 2 sizes too big shoes.
They've gone for the big clown shoes?
Yes.
And what about this something with the ears?
Yeah, they've put plastic behind the ears to make them stick out more.
Now, in Lupin's class this time, we learn about the boggart, which is obviously the thing you fear the most. That's what the boggart turns into. What would be your own personal boggart?
I'd say a big hairy rat.
Rats?
Can't stand them. Or mice.
And do you ever come across rats in this? Do you have to... I know your brother's got...
Only on King's Cross Station last year. But it was an animatronic one.
Yeah.
Until they did the real thing where it was a real one. And I still thought that it was an animatronic one until this thing jumps at me.
They made a real rat jump at you?
Well, it didn't do it because they told it to. It was just looking at me.
It did it because it was genuinely vicious?
It really didn't like me, yeah.
What magical power or spell would really come in handy in everyday life?
Mine would probably be just so all the girls. Just like every single one.
He says with an Irish twinkle in his eye. All the girls, Johnny, all the girls. OK. Well, listen, fellas, thank you very much for talking to me.
He doesn't have many friends. This means a lot to him.
Oh.
Thank you.
OK, on the one hand, you are all 3 stars of this film, but you're also evil and mean. I wonder, when you're in the street, if you're loved or loathed? Tom?
I don't know. The character you portray reflects on a lot of young kids' faces when you meet them. They take it very even when you're dressed as normal as you are and you're saying, please,
so what sort of things that happen? What do they do?
They just stare at you as if you're out of this world. Like, they all want to say, I want to meet Malfoy, I want to meet Malfoy. And when they see him, they're like,
maybe we shouldn't get so close.
Yeah, and that's back away, I don't want to speak to you.
Joshua, what about you?
Well, in the street, I've received quite a few boos and hisses a couple times.
They've booed at you?
Yeah, a few times.
But how does that make a young man feel to be booed?
They're not being deadly serious, like, they're only playing about in that, but...
I only say, because I've heard down the grapevine from people working on this that the 3 of you are actually just your pussycats. I've heard this.
No.
You're not really thuggish at all. It's a bit of fun.
Who did you hear this from?
I'm not going to say. I've heard rumours.
I hope it wasn't Robbie Coltrane, like, because we dealt with him last week. We had to do a bit of slithering work with him, oh, yeah.
Do you think you actually, if you went to this school, you would be in Slytherin yourself? Would it be the house you'd choose?
Yeah.
Do you like
Just. Not to the extent I think we go to it.
No.
But you have to be in Slytherin, because if you're in Gryffindor, you can't do anything wrong. You have to be good.
Yeah.
At least in Slytherin, you have the privilege to do everything now and then, you know.
Yeah.
Can you put in a word with the sorting hat to get me in?
Nah.
Oh, yeah, you'd be a real help to them.
Yeah. Legs would
There's
be
so
a
many
start.
situations where you think, God, if only I had a shrunken talking head to help me out of this scrape.
Exactly. Tom, do blondes really have more fun?
Well, I couldn't really say that, as I'm not a natural blonde.
I understand you have to constantly bleach your hair to keep it that
I have done
colour.
for many a year now.
Yeah. How's that? I mean, do you despise that process? I noticed you chopped it all off.
No, so it wasn't a chore, so to speak. It was all right. I got used to it.
Hey, Tom, you'd look good in dreadlocks, and I'd look great as a blonde. You want to swap?
Not particularly, nah. I think your hair matches yourself personally, so I think if I keep my barnet and you keep yours, we'll be rolling.
Oh, could I maybe borrow your shirt then?
Do you get trailers, your own trailers each?
When you're on location.
If I'm on location, yeah.
No.
Do you have any requirements you always say? I mean, do you have any there?
Well, I just need a cup of coffee, cup of tea or something.
No, is that it? Cup of tea?
Well, what do you mean?
Don't you have special requirements? I love the idea of you saying, no, I want this, this, and this.
We're not very celebrity.
No, you're not really celebrity,
are
you? You don't say, I want just this particular type of M&M.
Nah.
Brown ones.
No
only,
brown ones, yeah. What about you? What's your thing you like? What's your
Additive.
special requirements?
Well, drinks, just a cold drink. And I'm fine, because they've got a CD player in
Music.
the caravan. I just love music, so as long as I've got a drink and a CD player, it's fine.
Other than the questions I've asked, what are the most ridiculous questions fans have asked you?
They asked you at second premiere, and I'm sure the third one coming up, they'll ask me again, which part do I play? Or do I play the same part? It's like, no, I've changed part to Harry, actually.
That's the weird thing.
It's just, yeah,
I'm now Hermione.
That's the twist, yeah, you get that.
What about you? Same question.
What toothpaste do you use?
What?
Oh,
You've been
random.
asked what toothpaste
Do I use? Yeah, just some random question out of the blue.
What a stupid question. So what's the answer?
Oh, I've got to ask you. Dan, this is an important question here. Do you think your stardom gets you a lot more attention from the ladies?
To be fair, it's done me no favours.
It must have.
No, that's what you would have thought of, wouldn't you? To be fair, I would have thought the same.
No, I really would have thought. I thought you'd be cracking away.
It's the ones that don't know you, they want to be with you. It's the ones that know you that don't, which is
yeah.
I consider myself an all right bloke, but...
So the people actually all around you know you anyway. They're probably the ones you fancy. They're not impressed by it.
No,
and the ones you don't know are the ones you fancy, but you don't know them.
Yeah, I don't particularly have any, not interest, but I don't know them, so to speak, and they're the ones who obviously see the
So
lights.
you're saying you never pull off the back of...
No. Harry Potter has not accounted for one lovely lady.
Ask a question then. Go on, Drehead.
OK, this is for Joshua and Jamie. I don't like the way Tom's character treats you two in the movies. So why don't you leave him and you two can hang out with me?
You need the alpha mentality first, mate.
You do need the alpha mentality,
Need
no
it.
doubt about that.
Yeah.
It's in the genes, in the genes.
It's in the genes. Jeans is something you can't really wear.
As you keep pointing out. Thank you.
Any other questions, Drehead?
When are you going?
Very funny. Listen, fellas, thank you very much for talking to us.
Lads. Appreciate it talking to you.
Say goodbye, Drehead.
Bye.
Later, Dread.
There.
So what have you heard about Harry Potter before you actually got involved in it? David, what have you heard?
I'd only read a bit of the first book, and I just knew about all the media furore of it, you know. But I'd not read books 2 or 3. I just read a bit of it. And I'd seen the films.
OK, so you've never read anything about your character? You didn't read the book that this is based on?
Not until I got the part, no. I have to admit. Not until I got the part.
OK, what about you, Gary? What did you heard about Harry Potter? What was your
Much the
preconceptions?
same, really. I'd read the first book, and I got one up on Dave, you see. I'd finished the first book. And, there were no pictures in it.
You kept reading
Yeah,
till you got to the
colouring, you
pictures.
know.
Yeah. Do either of you have kids yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah, I does, yeah. Not myself.
And are they into Harry Potter? Or
Yeah.
too young?
Yeah. Alf is 14, so...
So he's right in the age there.
And the other two, Charlie's 4.5 and Gulliver's 6, so they've been here and they've got, you know, obviously it's an added thing that they like Harry Potter, but their dad's in Harry Potter.
I know,
so.
are they more excited about that than sort of anything else you've done?
Yeah, I'm a hero at school.
Yeah.
Big noise at their school.
Suddenly you are really cool dad.
Yeah, yeah. Although
That's the best thing about it, I think, is knowing kids and kids getting absolutely mental when you're in it.
Yeah.
Any kid you meet, and anyone I know tells the kids you meet that you're in it, and they get short of breath.
Yeah. But
they also get excited about the film.
When I told the Gulliver's 6, he went into his school and he ran up to his mate Omar, and he just said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess who's in Harry Potter?" And Omar went, "Harry Potter?"
Yes.
So he's read the books.
He's read the books.
He's read the books. But in general, what kind of attracted you to doing the film?
For me, I was seen for the first film for Quirrell, which is why I read the first book.
Right.
And then when I saw it, and I know Ian Hart, who did play Quirrell, I know he had such a good time making it. And I really like kids' films. I really enjoy being part of them. And since this is like the biggest of them all, I just thought what fun it'd be. And then met everyone involved, and I'm a fan of Alfonso Cuarón. And it's, you know, and I'm not disappointed now here at the end of it. I've had a great time making it.
What about you, Gary? What did you like about particularly Sirius Black? Were you surprised to get a character with that kind of, well, with the sort of the dichotomy that Sirius Black has in like a children's book, to find a character with that kind of darkness?
Well, it's great that you... I mean, I've played...
You're no stranger to darkness.
No stranger to darkness.
To the dark, John, the dark.
The dark side. And so it was great to be really to play a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. So, I mean, we think he's a bad guy, but you know, so that was... So that I liked that dynamic, that twist at the end.
Was there any sort of sense of being like new kids in a sort of established cast, almost new kids in a school, ironically?
Yeah, there's an element of that. It's kind of a welcome from everyone that's worked on it before. Because almost all the crew have worked on it before. Yeah, but it's such a friendly bunch of people.
It's been a great experience.
Yeah.
But did you feel that sort of did they gang up on you ever? Tease you?
No. Funny enough, it was.
They never got in a circle around you and jabbed you and teased you. Stole things from you.
No, that happens somewhere else.
Okay.
You know, before you get here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another place they do that.
Your agent deals with that stuff. But no, it's been a wonderful experience.
What about the kids? What was it like working with them? Did they behave all right?
Yeah, they're great. Daniel's a hell of a nice boy. He's a really great guy, and he's got me into some very good music.
Yeah, I've been listening to some. Yeah.
I was just still listening to the Beatles until I came here. You know.
Yeah.
But he's very passionate, but he's got great taste for a kid of his age.
He's very dedicated, serious about it, and focused. And
because he's actually, I mean, he said he's a big fan of yours, particularly as an actor. I think you are his idol as an actor. Is it quite odd to sort of act with a kid when you know you're his hero? Is that sort of off-putting? You sort of think, I've got to be really good here because this kid.
Yeah, you think I've got to be good here.
Yeah, for the kids.
For the kids.
I'm doing it for the kids.
I'm doing it for the kids.
A lot on the werewolf thing. You are quite lupine, genuinely.
Well, I am now, yeah. But I've put a lot of effort into that. But no, it was good to do. You can say at least once in your career you've done the whole werewolf transformation thing. But it wasn't really fun to do. It was well, no, because it's really uncomfortable to do. It was a terrible day when we were shooting it, and you have these lenses and you can hardly see anything, and a light would be blinding to you. And we were on a very dark set, and I was led out, and it was the middle of summer, and they opened the big studio door, and the sunlight hit my eyes, and I had the teeth still in, and I actually was like, oh,
I am blinded!
He's taking a bit serious, isn't he? Yeah.
As the in character, as soon as you leave your trailer. Ah, the light! Yeah. OK, if David genuinely had an animagus, what do you think his animal would be?
I don't know, I think there's a real softness to David, like a deer or something. I could see him as a deer.
What about Gary? How would you reply to that now?
I'd say some kind of bird.
A woman?
Yeah, some kind of bird.
Your tea's on the table, guys.
Yes, an old woman.
If you want to interpret it like that.
Excuse me, sirs, before we go, I just wanted you to know I put both of you on my resume as my co-stars. So if anybody calls, could you just tell them you both learned a lot from me?
You should quit while you're ahead.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny, what are we doing next?
I'm just writing questions for Robbie Coltrane and Sir Michael Gambon. So this is heavyweight stuff. I've got to concentrate for a bit here, Dread.
Yeah, OK. Oh, could you ask a question for me? I just want to ask them what it is like to wear a T-shirt.
You think I'm going to ask Sir Michael Gambon and Robbie Coltrane what it's like to wear a T-shirt? It's ridiculous. I mean, laughing stock.
All right, a suit then.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Oh.
What's it like to wear a suit? Michael, were you a Harry Potter fan before you got this role? How much did you know of the Potter phenomenon?
Not a lot. I'd seen the films, and I haven't read the other two books, read the third one, but I like them very much, yeah.
And obviously with you know, you taking Richard's place in there, I wondered how you sort of approached this role then.
I just did my own thing, you know. I mean, I do it with a slight Irish accent, which I think just seems to be right. I don't know why. It's just when I got on the set the first day, Alfonso, I said, I'll just do it. And he said, he came out and said, what's that accent you're doing? And I said, well, it's a bit of Irish, you know, because I am Irish and I feel sort of Irish, and this long beard and a long wig. So he said, all right, leave it in. No one's ever mentioned it since. And it is kind of, the part of Dumbledore is a sort of, a classic role, isn't it? I mean, I know you've compared it, I think, to King Lear, I read. Yeah, well, you feel a bit like King Lear dressed like that, and then he's all-knowing and all-powerful, isn't he? He's a bit nicer than King Lear. King Lear was a bit miserable, isn't he?
Absolutely.
No, he wasn't.
He's not very happy.
And not very good at relationships.
No.
No, really
he
dysfunctional
doesn't like his children, right?
No, he wasn't good with kids, was he?
No.
Robbie, you are barely over 6 feet tall. In the movie, you're obviously huge.
8'6".
8'6". So what do they, I mean, without giving away too many secrets, how do they beef that up then?
Well, it's mainly done with very clever camera angles. And there are one or two other tricks which I can't possibly discuss.
But at any time, have you got tall shoes to take you up to an enormous height?
Oh, yeah. And
so what's the biggest height you actually physically get to?
8'6".
And how does life feel when you're walking around 8'6"?
Very perilous. Because you've got all this hair like that and you can't really see your feet, of course.
OK, but quite inconvenient life at that height.
Very inconvenient, and the costume's very heavy. The costume weighs about 90 pounds, something like that.
And not only does the costume weigh 90 pounds, but it's made of... What's it made? It's made of...
What do you used to call it? Moleskin, isn't it?
Moleskin, yeah.
Yeah, very thick and very hot.
And you had to wear this, didn't you, on the hottest day?
It was 100 degrees in the forest. But I have a cool suit, you see.
Really?
Which is, yes, it's a vest, but it's got miles and miles of plastic tubing in it.
Like a refrigerator?
Very like a refrigerator. And then there's a box with ice cubes and cold water in it, and a tiny wee pump off a windscreen wiper of a car, you know.
This is my question.
Yes, I know it's your question, but let them answer it. Robbie, sorry, your suit.
Of course, they dyed the vest pink, just to make me look like a complete silly fellow. And they do. They pump the water around, and it's extraordinary because you know how woozy you get when you're really hot and your concentration goes, and then suddenly it's this shock of freezing cold water circling around. It's wonderful.
Michael, how excited were the young children in your life that you were in Harry Potter?
Oh, well, every boy, girl I meet asks me about being Dumbledore, so I do my best to tell them stories about it.
Your young relatives, is it? I mean, there must be a massive difference between that and sort of work you've done, say, during the theatre and things, which I would think they wouldn't particularly want to talk about.
They wouldn't want to talk about Samuel Beckett's Endgame, would they? Wouldn't appeal to the 8-year-olds.
Tell us another story about it, Grandpa. Please tell us about Samuel Beckett.
Tell us about existential alienation.
You're really watching the kind of the kids involved in this film grow up. Is that a strange experience?
Well, no, not strange. Just very interesting, really. Particularly this film, they're much more confident as actors, but they're much more confident as people because they are, you know, they are young teenagers now. And one thing that came across, particularly in this film, is there is a sense of fun between them because they've known each other for years and they get on well. So there's a good knockabout feeling between them, which means that when you do get a bit of light relief from the horrible things peering in the windows and trying to disembowel you, it's a genuine relief, which I don't think they could have done when they were younger, to be honest.
And I suppose they're more used to the acting now, aren't they? After 3 years.
Exactly. But I mean, they put more time in than probably any of us, don't they?
Yeah.
In terms of hours. And when they're not acting, they're doing their school studies. So it's a long haul for them.
They're there all the time.
Their concentration's astonishing. If any one of those had been the wrong person, and I mean not just the wrong person at the start, but had developed into the wrong person. In fact, we had this gag that we were going to stick a phony moustache on Daniel and get him to turn up with a cigarette holder and a couple of babes in a fur coat and say, my trailer is too small, love, I'm going back to it until, you know...
the nightmare child
The nightmare child scenario, yeah.
OK, Head, go on, I know you got a question. Crack away, go on.
OK, great. Robbie, I think Hagrid uses the same hairdresser as I use. Do you think I need a new hairstyle?
I think you might have one or two split ends there, matey. But no, I think it's very you. It's very you.
Ah, great. All right. I'll keep it like this.
Go on. You got a question for Michael?
Hello.
Michael. Hello, Sir Michael.
Hello.
You guys are all classically trained actors. Could you get me a role as that skull in Hamlet?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea because you'd be great as a skull.
A chatty Yorick.
Whoever played Hamlet would be lucky to have holding him.
Lovely. Well, fair enough. Next question. Michael again. I felt like scratching my knee for the last 6 years now. So, for the next movie, could you get Professor Dumbledore to cast a spell to get me a body?
Yeah, I think that could be done.
What sort of body would you create from
long,
that?
thin, distorted.
Sounds like me.
You finished then, Head?
Yeah.
For now.
Do you know, it's a waste of time even asking you to do those questions. We learnt nothing. It's always about you. It's never actually anything interested in them.
Well, I've had a good teacher.
Pathetic. Thanks very much, fellas.
You're welcome.
When Harry Potter fans encounter you in the street, do you get the feeling they hate you or love to hate you?
What do you find?
I don't get noticed in the streets.
Because you're so slim.
I have to say, you look more svelte.
I know.
Than the other films. What's happened?
Just lost weight, you know, just like
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
But was that a problem? Because, I mean, your character is implicitly meant to be chubby chap.
Yeah, well, I did wear a fat suit in the film, which got bigger every film. And that's how I got bigger, really.
Fiona, what sort of reactions do you get?
If children are being carried by their mothers and the mothers are walking ahead, the children often start crying if they see me. And the mother doesn't know why the child is crying.
Do you get fan mail, hate mail? How does it work?
I get fan mail, but it goes through Leaveston, so I don't get anyone to hate mail.
What sort of nice things do people say to you?
Well, some people say how, I like your other films you've done. And I was like, what other films? Because I haven't done Harry Potter.
So have you had anything nasty sent to you or any...
No, I get a lot of birthdays. People want things signed for their birthdays.
Yeah. Do you know, it's moved brilliantly on to my next question, which was, I mean, how has your popularity soared amongst children, nephews, nieces?
Deep respect.
Yeah?
Yeah, and not a little fear.
Yes.
I know how they feel.
What about you? What experience you've had with some of your younger rellies?
There's some that they just can't believe it. My father lives in Ireland, and cars go slowly past his house because they say that Harry Potter's grandfather lives in there. He's entirely
They've got it really wrong, haven't they?
by this existential fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? How's it sort of changed your life on every level?
It really, because I don't get noticed, it hasn't really changed my life a lot.
No, but I'm just saying, amongst your peers, though, there's that knowledge that you're... because of... Sorry. I mean, do you miss out on the fact that you're not with, like Daniel is, with a gang of kids?
Yeah,
and actually all your bits are separate. You film with him a bit at the start, and then you don't see all the others.
No, I really do want to go in Hogwarts. I want to go into Hogwarts.
We want to go to Hogwarts. We want to see what all this
like
fuss
Sports
is about.
Day.
What about, like,
Well, I asked Joanne Rowling, you know.
Like Parents' Day? Or...
But yes, the Founders' Day.
Yeah.
We said, why can't the Dursleys go to the Hogwarts on Founders' Day and see Harry Potter in his school? And she said, I don't know why. But I said, so then they can go. She said, no. I think it would be a disaster.
Yes, jumping the shark. It's jumping the shark, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
OK, now, Pam, what were your feelings about joining what is some regard as one of the nation's most awful families?
Sheer terror, really.
Yeah.
Yes, sheer terror.
So no misgivings about it?
No, not at all, no.
And yet you have to suffer kind of facial hair, fangs and not a good hair colour. How did you feel about that?
I loved it. I do love it, because the good bit is when you take it off at the end of the long working day and you look comparatively OK underneath and you think, I'm not so bad after all.
Yeah. Do you think that the Dursleys aren't caricaturey, though?
No.
But you breed bulldogs and look like a bulldog in it. Not now.
Do.
Not now you've got your special thing on.
Thank you. No, people do behave like this. I mean, frequently as actors, and I'm sure these other actors have experienced this, you'll see someone or meet someone and you'll say, if I put that on camera, no one would believe the extremity of it. These people aren't that extreme, really. It's just that we're looking at them through a particular lens.
But also, don't forget, there's been a progression through the films in the relationship. So that when you started out, Harry Potter was very much like Cinderella.
Yeah.
Then he went to Hogwarts and came back with some magic. And in the second movie, you then got this thing of him having powers and putting the family under pressure. And then in this third film, apart from the terrible things that happened to Aunt Marge, the whole house is, you know, shakes with fear because of what he might do.
Yeah.
As Harry Potter gets older, the Dursleys are more threatened. So they are turning from dominating him to being terrified of him. So the boot goes onto the other foot.
All your characters are obviously muggles, but if your characters could have one magical power, what do you think it would be?
I'm a very, very nosy, curious person. So I'd quite like to be able to be invisible occasionally and eavesdrop on various situations.
Yeah, and peek.
The royal family, for instance.
Yes.
That was a good one, actually.
That was a good one, wasn't it? The invisibility
John,
cloak
you
seems
can
to be a
have
big
it too.
favourite. Come on.
We'll go together.
I would like to be invisible too.
Yeah.
OK. I've actually been quite quiet this time, so go on. You can have a good question here. Go on.
It's the Dursleys.
Oh, come on. They're not. They're the actors.
I'm really scared of
It's
them.
the actors.
They're real.
No, no, no. Head off. Thank you very much, Dursleys, for joining us here.
That's what it is to be all mouth and no trousers,
It
isn't
is.
it? Yeah.
Sit.
I can't.
Now, obviously, the first two films directed by Chris Columbus, a marvellous foundation. I just wonder about how you then have made this production your own.
Well, I think the core decision was to make Hogwarts, the context, a character. To make the school, everything, all the sets that you see, a living entity.
Because this is the third film in line, you know, with these two guys, they literally reinvented it. They found a new way to look at all the existing sets.
And he fought for Scotland. Scotland was...
And we took it outside.
OK, this is my next question. The idea of moving, it's the first time you've done it, moving the whole cast, the whole crew, up to Scotland. What was the decision for? Why did you make that decision?
The thing is, I was not part of 1 and 2, so for me it was just the natural thing to do. There's so much stuff that takes place outdoors in this story, and it was pretty much Stuart who said we have to go to Scotland. He knew all these places. I mean, what do I know? Yeah. So he really fought for it.
But also it gave the film air. I mean, everything. It doesn't matter how beautiful a set is.
It gave the film air.
It gives it space and scale.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recreate a certain amount digitally, but there's nothing like the real thing, and it really does.
Howard is involved in a natural landscape, and it's not only the castle that you see in that natural landscape, but now you see the kids pretty much walking out of a castle.
Yeah.
On a mountain.
The other thing we tried to do was tie up the spaces, wasn't it? So you're in the hospital, school hospital, the infirmary, but you see through a corridor to the clock tower. Yeah. You follow that clock tower down to the courtyard below. That courtyard is connected via a bridge to the landscape.
Didn't J.K. Rowling actually draw you a little map of this? Some kind of little sketch?
Originally, on the first movie, there is a piece of paper. But,
I love the fact it starts with that.
Very significant piece of paper. And she did, in a hotel room. She said, this is the world.
Reading the book, you know, I think possibly the most challenging scene in it is, without doubt, the shrieking shack. I just wonder how you then bring that from the script and collaborate to bring that onto the film.
The writing was going on. What started to dictate a lot of the writing started to be Stuart's design of the shrieking shack.
OK, so what's that? What goes on in that meeting?
I think, first of all, we settled the exterior. Because we're in a remote mountainscape in Scotland on a snowy mountaintop, what looked very good in that situation was a very tall, vertical tower. So that was, I guess, the earliest decision, this kind of tall, vertical shape, really.
It was that, and you wanted to do everything wooden?
Yes. Unlike the rest of Hogwarts, which is stone, massive masonry, this was a rickety wooden structure. And then I guess the next step from there, I don't know if it was you or me, but we decided that if it was in this incredibly exposed situation, wouldn't it be great if it moved? If it did move. I mean, big time, didn't it? It was a
really,
Oh yeah. It was nice.
Involving John Richardson, special effects, a massive mechanical rig. And Michael. Yes.
Yeah. So then you take that on as your problem now.
Yeah.
What did you see as the problems of this one? I mean, instantly you must have thought...
The fact that we film on very wide-angle lenses with a lot of... a lot of moving cameras, so physically, where do I put the lights to illuminate it?
Yeah.
But it's a great challenge,
but in the early stage, it was a conversation. The biggest conversation that these two guys have is about light sources.
I think so. It's about lunch.
Followed by lunch.
It's about, what are we going to eat? Yeah, that's the first conversation. What are we going to drink?
Yeah. The Shrieking Shack is supposed to be a place without light, wasn't it? It's completely boarded up. There's no natural light source. There's no electricity in this kind of magical world.
Candles, there's
what the hell do you do? So what do you do? Our conversation was...
Well, basically, it was very, very soft light. So it'll be quite sort of very moody and with no apparent... source, because there are no windows. The only thing there is because it's such an old and decrepit building, because it's always moving all the time, Stuart made cracks between the boards. So it's almost as if the blinding light from the snow is coming through and just giving you a very soft light. It's also incredibly dusty. So you have the feeling there's a sort of, yeah, just dust in the air.
Johnny! No, not now, Ed, not now. These are three very important people. They designed you into this film, they can design you out again.
Then what are they doing talking to you?
I noticed that this change in how the children are dressed. They're much more relaxed, much more casual.
No, the thing is that they are 13. This is the passage from childhood into teenage years.
Yeah.
It is the moment in which the boogeyman doesn't live in the closet or under the bed.
Yeah.
You know, the boogeyman resides inside you.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, we wanted to bring a really raw naturalism to the kids.
Yeah.
So the theory behind was that the more naturalistic we were with the kids, with the performance, with the blocking, with the way they behave, the more magical the magic was going to be.
And did you think it loosened them up, having their own kind of clothes?
Well, I only done this first film, but something I know is that the kids really felt comfortable with the clothes.
In the beginning, they just loved the idea that there was a bit of individualism there. It wasn't just all stamped out like the school uniform thing. Obviously, they got used to it, but they just...
With the school uniforms, for instance. So what we ask is, okay, guys, there's the uniforms. What would you do with them? And you will see some kids with the ties out, some with the ties all the way to here, some of them very tidy. And so it's just pretty much like seeing kids walking out of school.
Apparently, there was a lot of joking around on set, including whoopee cushions. Is this true?
It was not a cushion. It was like a... Now it's very modern. In our time, now it's a machine that is remote control operated.
And you did this, did you?
No, it was Michael Gambon.
Was it? Oh, name names.
It's embarrassed Dan in front of a girl.
Actually, it was very good because it was a bunch of sleeping bags, and Dan has us to have his sleeping bag next to this particular girl, and then the thing is that we hid this machine in his sleeping bag.
Nice.
And through the take, the beautiful thing of that take is how amazing Dan tried to stay in character. You know, you will hear the
we filmed it. It was as if it was a regular take. And there's like hundreds of kids there all asleep, and these other characters, and all of a sudden you hear this noise, and Dan just stays in character.
Stays in character.
For about 20 seconds.
What it was amazing is that girls were the first, like, saying, hey, it was not me. It was not me.
It wasn't me.
Hey, man, it wasn't me either.
I thought one of the most kind of curious casting decisions was, well, him.
Me?
Yes, you. Why did you invent this?
It's, in the magical world, they have these fellows there, right? They are shrunken heads, and they don't. In the night bus, they don't have a radio. They have a shrunken head there.
And what did J.K. make of your? Because it's your idea to have this shrunken head, isn't it?
Yeah, with the shrunken head, what happened is that when we proposed that, you're rolling. She said, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense." And I think that in one of the books, there's a mention by the...
Just a mention?
There is.
Yes.
There's
Nocturne Alley.
A Nocturne Alley, something.
There's a shrunken head,
That was my cousin, Hedy.
Made just perfect sense. And having Lenny Henry doing that was just absolutely hilarious.
I'll thank you all in my Oscar speech.
Alfonso, guys, thank you very much for talking to me. That was brilliant. Thank you.